Hi, everybody. It's Laura at Sheer Passion. Thanks for checking in. I'm just trying to actually get this thing so that you can see the full-bodied me. I'm trying to work it on my cheap electronics that I have at home. You can see I'm holding my cell phone in my hand. Welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you today. I want to read something off my cell phone. This is why I want to talk to people. This is why I want to speak around the world. And something on Facebook had popped up about a week ago, and I had really connected with it. And this is so much of who I am inside and why I want to stand up for the Lord. Surely not perfect with reading my Bible every day and perfect with keeping my language completely clean. But I will tell you this. I love the Lord, and I understand who he is and that he is sovereign. I have more intensity to speak about the other side, the devil, how he works, why he gets away with what he does, and why the church needs to stand up and realize that we are part of the problem, not the solution at the time, because we're not plugging into conversation communication. So let's begin with the internet, because you know how much I rely on it on here to get the word out and to speak to people. But I also do believe that if we plug into this and we start to really understand where people are coming from, especially on the internet, we can learn to talk about these things. So here was a post from a friend. Bibles are not allowed in schools anymore, but encouraged in prisons. And there's a picture of the gentleman reading his Bible in prison. If kids were allowed to read it at school, they may not end up in prison. There was a gentleman that had commented on it, and this is what he said. In spite of the nightmarish violence and war, needless cruelty, slavery, rape, and prostitution that it documents, it should be at least PG-13. I go on to reply to him. Nobody else wanted to touch the subject. But I will tell you that that's what we're thinking. So needless war, cruelty, and violence. That's bizarre to me. Has anyone read the Bible? Does anyone understand that everything that we are reading in there is not to shame us, but to relate? We're supposed to relate to these things that are happening. So if we don't touch those subjects, needless war, yet the world is going to end in Armageddon. You want to call up God and tell him he's got a needless war on his hands? Because he's going to be fighting evil at the end of time. What are we fighting? Bad people? Yeah, see, we need to answer those questions. What exactly are our needless wars? Needless wars to stand up against people who don't currently stand up against the bullshit that's in America right now. But we have needless wars because everybody so mandates themselves as an individual long before they leave the house? No, I don't think so. They're not so needless. They're actually really needed. Cruelty, violence, prostitution. Folks, if we do not open up about these subjects to our children and our young people, let me tell you who will. The people who do not have hope in Jesus Christ. See, it became very convenient to go to church, to take your children to Vacation Bible School and then to go to church. That became convenient for you because you placed them in their little spot. They sat with all the kids their age. But then what happened when they became a young adult and dealt with masturbation, dealt with sexual temptation, dealt with alcohol, dealt with wanting to be in fights, punching, smacking, hitting, pulling, kicking, biting? What happened to all of those things? Do you have a problem with those subjects? I can tell you this. If you have a problem with that subject, and as a Christian male or female, and you cannot answer those questions to other people open honestly and leave shame at the door, you're the one with the issue. You're the one with the issue. You've never dealt with it. You cannot give something away if you do not have it. Here's an example. When I married my second husband, number two, because yep, I'm a big sinner here on the screen. When I married my second husband, how do you think I could be proud of my stepson? Is it a new thing for me? Is proud a new thing for me? How do I give something to this child that I have never felt for myself? How do I say I am proud of something if I have never been proud? There we go. How can I say I love something if I don't love myself? How can I tell you what pizza tastes like if I've never tasted it? How can I share with you what it is like to not have debt if I haven't paid debt off or kept myself from having debt? How can I tell you what it is like to save money and the security of building wealth? How can I share that with you if I've never done it before unless it's here? I mean, I can honestly say the subject of wealth People don't normally want to go there because it requires action. But let me tell you where we need to go. Wealth is going to work for everybody. I can tell you that. We can actually put that over here on the counter. We can just lay that right down. Let's talk about debt. Woo! You can piss a lot of people off by talking about debt. You want to talk about debt? Let's talk about how that happens. This is actually the side that if we do not come and talk about, we're all going to go under. Our boat's going to sink. Do you need to tell people what to do in a situation when a boat never sinks? No, you don't, because it works for everybody when the boat stays afloat. Let me tell you where we do need to go. What happens if it wouldn't? Other than telling you where the life jackets are, you better tell people what it'll be like to live in a situation where all people think they might die. That's the part that nobody wants to go to. See, and here's where Christians go. Well, we all have life jackets. You people better get your heads screwed on straighter. Because what's going to happen when thousands of people think they're going to die, whether you have a life jacket or not, is total chaos. That's the part of the situation that we never want to go to. I find it convenient that somebody states, how dare the Bible write about those things when all of those things are people. How did those people get there? How did those people end up in those stories, those subjects? I mean, how does a prostitute become a prostitute? Because she drops her panties? Because there's a guy waiting to pay for sex? Good golly, we have sex trafficking through the roof in America. Let me tell you, if families would have been able to talk about vaginas and penises a long time ago, do you think prostitution would have stopped? No, you better go a little deeper on the subject than that. People would have had to have been empowered, supported, and understood instead of shamed, saddened, and scared. Sex is not that easy to talk about, but I will tell you this. Great sex, healthy sex, chosen sex. Who can't deal with that? No, we all can. We all can. That's why so many people allow their children to believe, when you get married, daughter, when you get married, son, you find the right person, you believe they're sexually attracted to you, and when your nakedness enters the room, sex shall happen. You've all been drinking purple Kool-Aid again. Well, then you haven't been in a sexual relationship for any length of time, because I can tell you this, sex is one of the hardest workouts there is. It's one of the most intimate, self-sacrificing moments of your life. Every book and movie novel makes it look like everybody just jumps into bed a guru. Now, I can tell you this, most people are amateurs 20 years in. Most people do not know what their lumps and bumps do, if you know what I mean. Reality is, what Christian friend or non-Christian friend do they have to go to for that person to tell them everything they've ever learned about their own lumps and bumps without being embarrassed? Once again, if you're embarrassed, you have the issue. It wouldn't matter how many people aren't embarrassed, as long as you remain embarrassed by not attacking the subject matter. Anytime you talk about good sex, healthy sex, fantasy sex, that always works for everybody. Where are all the people wanting to get into the room and talk about the subjects we haven't mastered? How convenient. The devil is winning again, because what comes along with doing that? Action, anxiety, fear, embarrassment, responsibility, accountability to what? Your own feelings, your own mistakes. That's okay. Nobody needs to shy away from those subjects. Why are the subjects too big to approach? You want to give it a PG-13 rating? You cannot run from the deepest, darkest, nastiest of subjects, because that's exactly where everyone in the world is going to be empowered to understand who the devil is, how the enemy works, and why we choose a sovereign God. I love how everybody's like, you know, Laura, I do believe in God. The higher power, you know what? You put your higher power on a shelf for a second. You ever noticed how believing in this bull crap everyone throws out doesn't actually give the people more tools to understand the choices they make, have responsibility, accountability to the entire community? If we all focus on talking about wealth, will we create wealth? No. You better talk about debt. If all of us focus on the good sex we think we might have, Will we never have bad sex, hurt feelings, misunderstandings? I can tell you not. You better talk about the other side. You better talk about the other side. Do men and women only have affairs because they have perfect sex in their marriages and bad sex? No, and yet sex still comes up. People don't know how to talk about it, so they think by going out and finding different sex, the genital gods come down and give us everything we need. God created male and female parts and gave us the marriage union. If you think that it's awful or that it's unattainable to have premarital sex and for mercy and grace to enter in after that, I'm here to tell you, folks, I had premarital sex. Am I ashamed of those things? Not today, no. Have I been shamed in those things? Absolutely I have. I've had to ask for forgiveness. That's okay. I'm a human woman. The one thing I learned a long time ago is to accept that you're a human woman and get over it. I am not on a journey to be completely perfect until the Lord whisks me away into heaven. I'm on a journey to be absolutely female, absolutely real, get right with the Lord faster than the last time. I'm also in my 30s now. I don't see sex the way I saw it at 21. I'm 34. I see it differently. I see it better. I see it more healthy, but I can tell you this. I will never keep you from learning about the Laura that was because she is part of who I am. Why I stay here. Why I choose this, why I work on my sex life, why I help others, because it's not embarrassing to me. What's embarrassing to me is the people who won't help other people get right with their sex life, because when we don't, that is exactly where the devil will go. And people escaping the sex talk don't get better sex. It doesn't show up on your door because God says, well, if I give it to her, she might not go looking elsewhere. I can tell you this, if you're an attractive female, you will always be able to get a man. Even if you're an unattractive female, they've been known to go after that as well. But you will eat more, you will spend more, you will have less friends, or you'll have more friends exactly the same as you are. But your ship is going to be sinking. That's about as honest as I can get. I'm not going to be the type of woman that says, well, we're all Christians, we'll make it to the other side. No, that's not true. That's not true. We have responsibility to talk about the subjects where nobody else wants to go. Not everyone has the strength to do that. I understand that. There is a reason why you don't have the strength to do that, because you've never forgiven yourself and the Lord, and you've got to go there first. If you think that you can talk about Donald Trump, well, I got another thing coming. If you haven't done half of what that man has done, wait till somebody comes into your living room and tells you what they think about your life that you're living. We wouldn't choose you for president either. Oh, Laura, you can't say those things. Yes, I can. You can email me, you can message me, you can text message me, you tell me why I'm wrong. We get away with talking about other people because we don't have to be honest. I have seen in this town too many times that subjects have come up on the table and everybody wants to go, well, I don't want to talk poorly about others. Well, then don't. You can talk about the subject. You can talk about the decisions that person made. Those are facts. See, if somebody says Laura is loud, okay, I can deal with that. Laura is talkative. Yeah, okay, I can deal with that. Laura was talking about somebody. Put it in context. See, if you think that Laura is loud and she's talkative, when somebody says to you, Laura was talking about somebody, if you think as poorly as most people do, then you would assume I act and think the way you think. That's not true. If someone says to you, I heard Laura was talking about somebody, you'd have to know me. You'd have to believe in the character of who I am, not the character of who you are. And so if somebody said Laura was talking about somebody, I hope you know me by now that if I was talking about somebody, I'd be big enough to pick up the phone and go yay or nay, or show up in person. What's the problem with talking about people? What's the problem? That it would be a lie? You could tell everyone today, Laura is gay. Okay, you can do whatever you want. If there's no power to that subject, how far will it go? And why would you do that to somebody if there's no truth in it? Why would you choose to believe it if there's really no reason? Would you be big enough to call me up and say, Laura, I heard something that's perplexing to me? No, most likely not, because you'd like thinking that there was something about another person that's just enough gritty to go, I heard something about her that was nitty gritty, think she's a know-it-all. Well, folks, I got to be honest with you. What good does that do us in society? Why is it that you have a hard time calling somebody up and asking them a question? You can't ask yourself a question. It's not so much, excuse me, that you can't ask questions, but when it becomes specific, then you know already in your head, would you be willing to be held to the same standard? We have a hard time in this society talking about anything because we are not ready to put ourselves out there and to say, I, Laura, no, I'm straight, I'm married, I have a husband. I'm really sorry that that was told to you. I'm not sure why somebody was spreading that rumor around. I appreciate you coming to me. You know what? Let's go one step further. Let's not treat people who are gay with their sexuality. Let's be better than that. I appreciate you calling me. Thank you so much. Now, the reality is I have to be mature enough to hear the statement, not be judgmental, and guess what? The subject of being a homosexual, I've already dealt with as a human being. Would I want someone to deal with my sexuality in such a way as to shame me? No, I wouldn't. I've already said that. So as a 34-year-old woman, when I pick up the phone, in that moment as an adult, I am not dealing with homosexuality for the first time and thinking, how is it that I will get over this tough subject? Or have I chewed on that subject long before it comes up? Let's hopefully say in my 30s that yes, I have. If somebody says, Laura, do you have debt? Well, yeah, I do have a little on my mortgage. I would like to pay that off. Have you done anything about it? I have, yeah. I should work a little harder at paying that off, but you know what? My husband and I are plugging away at it. I appreciate you asking. Why? Do you have a mortgage thing to sell me? Do you have a payment plan? Did you pay yours off? Is there a way that you have it? Like, what's the point of the subject? You don't have to be embarrassed to tell people where you're at when you're going to share your own perspective. So sorry, excuse me. And theirs. It's okay. It's okay to be exactly where you are, unless you haven't decided that that is okay for you. And then you will choose to lie to yourself. Because as long as no one asks you a specific question, it's not applicable. How convenient that the devil has made sure that every single person who reads the Bible thinks it's needless war, prostitution, cruelty, instead of seeing how that lines up directly with 2016 in the United States of America. And that we are exactly like those people. We have the opportunity to go to the Lord and to ask Him for the strength to get up, get out of our own way, speak clearly, be accountable, be responsible, show up, do what's right. But we don't want to. We don't see the healing in it. You're hiding from the healing. I can tell you that. There is healing in saying, Lord, this is Laura. I have struggled sexually with men. I owe you an apology. I owe myself an apology. I owe my husband the apology for allowing my body to be elsewhere. I'm not going to sit in shame. I'm not going to waste time being a martyr over that. There is no cause, because when God forgave me, it was over. Now we need to move on. And I'll be real honest with you. If you do not talk to young girls about their sexuality and the power of the line of Eve and what we have done with sex, we embody sex. Sex arrived on the planet when we did. We do not help them. If you think they are going to have good sex lives because you keep the idea of masturbation, prostitution, pornography, orgies, swinging off the table, you're a fool. Because those are the subjects that matter most. And if they don't understand why people are drawn to that, they themselves will go looking. If you think that perfect sex is waiting around every corner of every Christian home who has a daughter, you are so foolish. And why can't you tell her about the dark subjects? Because you haven't dealt with them yourself. You are ashamed. You are embarrassed. You are afraid. You don't know. Why not? Because we haven't gone there. You keep thinking by telling yourself that you believe in this almighty God, He is sovereign, He is at the top. Why do you waste your time? You already know that if that is the truth, When Lucifer fell from heaven and he became the devil, and other angels have fallen with him, by the time they get to chapter 6, they talk about more angels that have fallen. That was in the first book of the Bible. And how many years we have come that more angels haven't fallen? And that as humans die off, we've got new ones to breed more sin and evil into? We are all sinners, but the difference of being a Christian is that we have hope in Christ Jesus. That doesn't mean that we won't make mistakes. It means that we should go more quickly to the Lord and ask for strength. Remember, humans are brilliant. He has made us gritty and brilliant. In my 30s, I see and sense sexuality differently than at the age of 17. Then let's remember that I also am not going to be drawn to going out and having affairs because I've understood and tried to understand lust. I had to learn about lust and identify it so I could say no to it. If you cannot identify it, how are you going to keep yourself away from it? If you do not know what debt is, how will you not acquire it? People know what wealth is, and America is not wealthy. That doesn't mean we can't be wealthy. It just means we need different actions. Stop fooling yourselves into thinking that if you keep on the sweet subjects, that everyone in the world is going to be wiser. That hasn't worked yet for any Sunday morning church. I am not against the church body of Christ, the Holy Spirit living within us when you've accepted salvation, but I am against acting like fools in large group settings on Sunday morning from 9:30 to 12. If that is you, well, if you can tell me why I want to plug into that, you let me know. I want to plug into being real. In my living room, if you're having a problem in your marriage, I don't freak out. That's a reality. Who's going to help you through it? Well, if you have the right tools to get through it, you can help yourself. But I am not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that it's going to be easy. If it was easy to stay on track, we'd all get there. But it isn't impossible. I know everyone in the world wants an opportunity to be seen, heard, understood, better, successful, loved, cared for. To become that person, there's a lot of responsibility. Please join me in learning to use the brains that God has given us. Reach out. Reach out. Send me emails. laurasuggs9@yahoo.com. LaurasSuggs9@yahoo.com. Thank you so much for plugging into Sheer Passion. SheerPassion. 2 blog at blogspot.com. That's my blog. Plug into that. It's awesome. I love writing. Thank you. I love sharing these thoughts on here. I know I get passionate. Get passionate with me. Get up and get passionate about something. Do something that is worth getting up for every morning. Change. It's awesome. Mediocrity. That's the past. Get up and do something with your life. Learn to talk about yourself. Ask questions. All right, guys. I'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye.